Hey guys, welcome back. Much appreciate you like always. I hope that you are having a good day, good night, some sort of something positive. Today, I want to have a conversation as to what a leader of household is. I'm sure that you're asking yourself, what is a leader of household? Many of you guys have heard head of household, which a lot of times has a lot of negative feeling behind it. There's a power struggle between a couple, meaning husband and wife, and a heterosexual relationship, for example, or even in a gay couple. It doesn't really matter. The head of household is always like it's a power struggle. When I work with dads specifically, and when I work with them as a wellness coach, I have to teach them what leader of household really means. So let's get to it. A leader is someone who leads, and therefore you will have followers. So let's become a good leader. A good leader will always have the best interest of others in mind. That's just one. So when we applied that good leadership to your household, that implies that not only do you have your family's well-being in mind, financial well-being, housing, any other means that you can think of. Of course, that's what a good father should do. Well, let's take that to the next level. Now we're going to talk about health. Well, and now, I mean, we're being bombarded by in social media, commercials, you name the source, we're being bombarded by big sugar, the big corporations, and also, fast food chains. Of course, they're everywhere. You can escape them. One of the biggest things that I found working with clients or with students in wellness is that they have to learn how to practice what you preach. And it's great that you're going through a program. It's great that you're losing weight, that you might not be eating this anymore. You're opting for the best meal or the best, for example, water, for example. One of the biggest challenges that the fathers that I work with is that they have a difficult time having their kids, their families follow with what they're doing. And so that's how we're able to coach the fathers into that. We teach them how to go about every day, the daily routine. For example, you're a working dad, and then you come home, you're tired from there. Well, you're like, look, I just want to eat something. Or maybe you already went through the drive through and you already have your bag of McDonald's, for example. Pick your poison, right? So that's a very likely scenario. Really, what we're doing is we're really trying to get home, take care of our basic needs, which are, of course, you want to eat. Then guess what? You want to rest, and hopefully you can help your kids out with homework or something, and you go to sleep and repeat. And that's a big problem because these routines are not necessarily the best routines. And what happens is that sometimes what we need to do, we're not doing ourselves. Okay. So then we're teaching our children everything else, we're teaching them bad habits. And that's really what we want to stay away from. The biggest thing that I teach is how can I stop eating at fast food restaurants? Okay, that's a huge problem. But nonetheless, I have successfully taught this to many of my students. And you'll see throughout this video how I was able to do that. Now that we know that Big Sugar and the big chains out there conspire against us, now we have to take charge and say, no more. But it's not that easy. First, we have to have the right tools, the right mindset before we could even get to that point. Because you can easily go to an app, you can easily download something, go to the internet, etc. Okay, I've done it myself. The issue with that is that people have so much information and they don't even know what to do with that. The problem is that because everybody's trying to sell something, or at this point, everybody's trying to tell you, don't do this because you will die. Don't drink this because you will die. I get it. But here is the real truth. The real truth is that if you keep eating these highly processed carbs, right? For example, that McDonald's French fries, they're their number one seller. The reason why they're the number one seller is because they have so many other ingredients in their French fries. If you guys research how McDonald's French fries are made, you will be surprised how many chemicals they have in there to make you addicted. Okay, so it's not just potatoes and salt. Trust me when I tell you, it is not. I've done the research. It is way worse than that. And they are literally designed to keep you addicted. Okay, the same thing with McDonald's. Dasani water is the cheapest water that you can get. Okay, but guess what? It's owned by Coca-Cola. Big Sugar is already incorporated into these fast food chains. So it could be Pepsi or Coke. Nonetheless, it's still a partnership, it's a contract, and they have figured out a way to make us addicted. This is why we have to fight addiction. You might say, well, what are you talking about addiction? Did you know that cocaine, right? It's a hardcore drug. Sugar is 8 times more addicting than cocaine. Did you know that? Well, now that you know that, I hope that you understand how addicting sugar is. You add highly processed carbs, just like the McDonald's bread. It does not decompose. All McDonald's food does not decompose. Yes, they have a salad here and there, but who buys that? Same thing with Chick-fil-A, Burger King. You name the restaurant, they're basically all the same thing. So let's talk about some of the realistic things that you can do. We'll talk about three action steps that you can take right now so that you can actually stop eating fast foods. Step number one is to make the decision that you're no longer going to do it. Let me put it this way. When an alcoholic or a hardcore drug addict wants to quit, what do? They literally have to come to terms and they have to realize that they're an addict. So they have an addiction and then they have to admit to it. From there, you have to make a decision to say, I'm going to stop. The problem with that is that sometimes because we have been addicted for too long, we don't know how to stop. Okay, so that's another huge problem. So remember, the first one is to make the decision that you want to stop. Step number two, hire a wellness coach. I have a lot of experience dealing with people with different types of diseases, metabolic diseases. For example, the biggest is type 2 diabetes. A lot of people with that, have developed either issues with the liver, with the kidneys, some even have a fatty pancreas. Did you even know that you could get a fatty pancreas? So for example, like you could develop a fatty liver. A lot of people know that, or gallstones or kidney stones. But now people are being diagnosed with other stuff that pile on. So a wellness coach, a good coach, will understand this, simplify it for you and break it down. And on top of that, you will have accountability. That's what a coach does. Holds you accountable, gives you a plan, keeps you motivated. There's a lot of times where I have students that they feel like, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's hard. Those are self-defeating thoughts. When you have self-defeating thoughts, you're always speaking negatively to you. Speaking negatively to oneself, it's very common. One of those thoughts that say, well, what's the point? I've already tried this program. I've already tried this app. It doesn't work. When a wellness coach comes along and says, okay, well, let's break it down. Let's start from scratch. And now we can work together to a point where you could actually succeed. If you think that all of a sudden I'm going to give you a magic formula or magic potion, it doesn't work that way. One of the things that I have to do is break down a lot of the negative things out there, some of the things that don't work, some of the things that do work but are being done wrong. For example, a lot of times people say, well, I'm not eating anymore. I'm fasting. Okay, cool. How are you fasting? What are you doing? And most of the times they don't know how they're doing it or how to do it right. There's a full process to that we teach here as part of the program. Step number 3. This would require your commitment to yourself, to your family, It requires a lot of work, okay, because there are action steps. There is things that you have to follow through and accountability. Those are part of the step number three that you will need to succeed, okay, and get closer to your goals. Let's go ahead and give you an example, a case study, if you will. One of my recent students, a father of two, he has a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. He was struggling with everything that I was telling you. He was not motivated. He actually developed kidney stones when I got him. He was in bad shape. Throughout our coaching calls together, we were able to figure out the real, what we call our why underneath our why he's really doing this and why he really wants to change everything. So we got to that. We were able to determine that his why underneath his why was he wanted to live longer for his children. He wanted to be around. He had another child coming and he wanted to be around for that child because at this point he was running scared because of the kidney stones. And I explained to him that once you have kidney stones, then from there, you could easily develop gallbladder stones and a whole bunch of other stuff. I was able to help him out to the point where he no longer had kidney stones. We worked with his doctor. And so we don't ever recommend to stop going to your doctor. That's just something we will never ever do. We work alongside with the medical professionals, and so his doctor would treat him medically, and then I would help him out with everything else that needed to be done. And at the end of the program, he no longer craved specifically McDonald's. He was no longer drinking energy drinks. He was not drinking sodas, and it's because he's a teacher and sometimes he stay up late and wake up early. He was able to drink black coffee, which is a diuretic and also antioxidant when it's drank black. And yes, it took him a little longer to get used to it, but nonetheless, he actually succeeded and he's doing very well now. I know the big thing that we worked on with him was how to manage his household. He and his partner were able to benefit from the program because I was not only coaching him indirectly, I knew that I was coaching his wife, his family. So, of course, we tackled a lot of the issues there with the family throughout our program. We were able to give them the necessary tools so that they could eat healthy. We had developed family time so that they could actually spend time together cooking. And we developed another plan where they were able to spend more time together. Actually, it turned out very well because he has reported, or actually, once we finished, he had reported that his family time improved. Quality of life obviously improved. His attitude was more positive, and he had a full blown transformation. It's one of the testaments that I can offer you guys that this program actually works, that it's real. I break it down. I don't give you a lot of terminology because a lot of times when I started, I used to try to prove myself that I knew what I was talking about. But what happens throughout time is that you develop a sense of common knowledge that people get lost in the terminology. And so I just break it down very easily for you guys. One of the things that he appreciated, he said, "Yeah, I mean, I understand it when you say it." Again, I know I'm in the field. I know what it is to get so much information and then break it down to the point where you could actually understand it. We have reached the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around. I definitely want to work with you. I feel that working with a wellness coach is one of the biggest and best things that you can do, not only for yourself, but for your family and also for future generations. Okay. Until the next one, take care.